Welcome this morning for your practice. We do the usual slower movements today. You might find one or the other challenge within the practice today, but rest assured that if something isn't for you as usual, you would just take a pause, ignore me altogether if you need to. I try and keep the practice slightly flowing, but we will have holds in between as well. We won't need anything in particular for this practice, but if you like your usual things, such as a blanket, a cushion, you may always have a block around you, because sometimes it's nice to use that to sit, and of course your mat. Now, when we begin, we do so lying down on the backs. So good position for you all to begin in as you lie down on your back. You can choose to have your feet on the ground, but you may also lengthen the legs out. Let your arms relax for a moment, and as you find your spot, do all the little wiggles and shuffles that you need to be comfortable. Now, when we come to the practice today, just like last week, there is a sense of raising the energies to help us to find a oneness and connection, a deeper sense of inward connection that also draws us to the universe and to the divine, that little spark that we all hold within ourselves that's part of the universe, and then in turn makes us all one. So while we can't access that with physical movements, this practice on the mat might give you an opportunity to acknowledge yourself, and with that, in the improvement of awareness, come closer to that sense of oneness eventually. So while you close your eyes here or steady your gaze to the ceiling, and you're resting quite comfortably, allow your breath to deepen a bit, just randomly at first, and acknowledge where the breath is moving, and that the breath is so very strongly connected to your physical body. And as you are being the observer, your mind comes in as well. The mind, however, is that tricky part of ourselves that wanders and distracts us and gives us false impressions. So let your mind be and stay an observer during this practice, as you notice your breath is connecting you down into your mat, and with that, a safe space. As your breath is connecting you with your clothing, and the breath is moving into the space in which you are. All physical connections that could keep you in this moment. As you change the pattern of your breath, let your breath move into your belly, your ribs, to the collarbones, and breathe out from your belly to the ribs, to the collarbone. And then continue the breath like this, our usual full yogic breathing. If you feel it's appropriate for you, you may, of course, add the Ujjayi technique, that light constriction in the back of the throat that creates the oceanic sound accompanying this breath. So a way of deepening the connection with your breathing. No stress or strain, as usual in your breath. If any of you have difficulties breathing, just stick with what is possible rather than enforcing any techniques upon yourself. Finding a pattern of breathing that is long and deep, so you could choose to count your breath. As you count your breathing, find a count of at least 4 or even more. but for both ends, the in-breath and the out-breath. Once your breath is established, keep it flowing and take your right knee to your chest and give it a squeeze into the chest. On an out breath, may you lift your nose up to the knee and hold here. You could gently draw the lower abs in as you take that hold. And now keep the knee that close, but let your upper body gently lower back to the mat. And then let your knee slide out a bit towards the shoulder and give it another good squeeze here. With the hip now slightly open, start to place your left foot onto the ground, quite relaxed. And then bring your right ankle to your left thigh, and you may use your right hand to open the knee away from you. If this is enough and you can adjust the foot on the mat, bring that in closer if you want a deeper stretch. You can stay here. Or you can slide your right arm between the legs, lift your left foot, and then take a hold of the back of your left leg or your shin. And as you hold here, keep an active flexion in the foot that you raised. And try and lean a tiny bit to your left and to your right. And you might notice there's somewhere a very tight spot. At that place, hold and breathe. So if you've lost your breath, keep it flowing. And then we will release the foot back down, the other foot. And if your legs were out long, you can extend them again. Just taking note of sensations. Tuning back in with the flow of your breath. And now bringing your left knee into the chest. Give that a good squeeze in. Hold. And with the out breath, lift your nose to your knee and hold there. Gently draw lower abs down and in. And keep the very close hug, but lower your upper body down. And then take your knee a bit further outwards and draw it towards the shoulder. Now place your right foot onto the mat, your left ankle to the right thigh, flex the foot, and you may guide your knee open with the left hand. You can adjust the positioning of the foot on the mat. If that feels wonderful, just stay. Or you can slide your left arm between the legs, lift the right foot and take a hold of the back of the leg or the shin. And draw the legs in a figure 4. I suggest a slight leaning to the left and the right to find a spot where you feel the tightest. And then holding exactly at that point. Then let the body release. Land your feet down or extend your legs, whichever feels right for you. Tune back in with the breath as it flows. And then bring both knees into your chest. Give them both a loving hug. And you may rock gently from side to side. Finding potentially a little bit of release across your back or a gentle massage. And you can choose to just drop over to your side if you're more comfortable with that. Or if you want to practice a little bit more vigorously, you could choose to rock a few times forward and back on your mat. And eventually using that movement then to come to a seat. If it's possible for you, you can place one leg in front of the other here. It would be okay to roll up the end of the mat or pop a block underneath your buttocks, just to make sitting more easy. If you find leg extension works better for you, that's definitely a place as well. Now, as we come to sit, let's bring the fingertips down by the side somewhere. Getting in contact with the ground as you steady your gaze or close your eyes. Keeping that connection to your safe space in mind as you gather the energies around you, breathing in, raise your arms out and up. And as you bring your hands to touch, draw them down toward the heart space, but separate them to land back on the floor by your side. Repeat that movement twice more. Think of the energy you're gathering as you inhale and that you're releasing to yourself when you're breathing out. As you come back in the stillness of your seat, you may change the leg you placed in front. And then lift your arms a little bit outward and start to flop your arms around your waistline. Coming into a twisty movement. And we'll pause that movement next time we turn to the right and just placing the hands down wherever they feel comfortable. Let your gaze be steady or your eyes be closed. Internal, steady gaze point. And then swing across to the other side and repeat here. On your next inhale, reach your arms back out and up. Bring the hands down through the midline. Rest the hands down in front of you now. Remove anything that you might have been sitting on. And then find your way back to sit at the end of your mat. Now, for some of you, this might be tricky if the knees are playing up a little bit. That could be the case. You can always stand on the knees instead. But if it's possible to sit like this, let the knees be about hip distance apart. So either standing on your knees or sitting upon your heels. Arms will hang down by the sides. If you're seated, your fingertips will touch the floor again. On a breath in, lift your hips away from your heels. Reach your arms up. As you touch the palms, draw the hands through the midline and land on all fours. On the inhale, lifting tail and gaze. On your exhale, round into cat. Let your hands slide forward. Lift your feet, roll over your knees. Let your hips lower, your chest and your gaze open as you inhale. And round your back as you move your hips again to your heels for an extended child's pose. Find a little quirky movement going sideways, wiggling a bit, moving the body, whatever it is that you need to do. Keeping your awareness, your mind within this practice and exploring your possibilities. On your next out breath, round your back up to come and sit on your heels or stand upon your knees. Arms are again long down by your side. We'll move through this 2 more rounds, but changing it slightly. On the inhale, lift your arms out and up as you lift your hips away from your heels. On the exhale, draw the energy through the center to land on all fours. Breathing in to raise your tail and gaze. Breathing out for a cat. Rolling over knees into back bend as you lower your hips and open your heart, inhaling. On your exhale, extended child's pose. Let your arms now circle out and around you to interlace the hands behind your back. You can stay here. And if you have any form of high blood pressure, or pressure around your eyes, head, please stay. Otherwise, lift your hips away from your heels, roll to the top of the head and raise your arms away from your back. Rabbit pose. Release the rabbit into a full child's pose as your arms might rest by your sides. Next exhalation, rounding back up to your seat or the stand on the knees. Lengthen your spine, arms by the sides. Go for another round. On the inhale, lift up and reach up. Exhale, draw your hands through the midline as you land then on all fours. On the inhale, lifting tail and gaze. Exhaling for a cat. Inhaling to roll forward, open hips, heart and gaze. Round the back as you breathe out to extended child's pose. And as you let your arms circle around to interlace the hands behind the back, change the finger you had on top. And if suitable, lift the hips, roll back to the top of the head, maybe even lift your arms away from your back. Hold in Sasangasana, the rabbit. And release, full child's pose. Next, out breath, rounding back up to come to heels or knees, lengthening the spine again. Inhale now. And as you exhale, reach your arms forward, tuck your toes under, lift your knees and come up into downward facing dog. If the down dogs aren't yours, you're welcome to do all down dogs instead on all fours. And some of you might have started that already. Start to move that down dog. Get in, just like you did with the extended child's pose. Pedaling out, swinging out, releasing what needs to. And then walk your feet to the top end of your mat. Keep your knees bent. Let the upper body hang down. And on an out breath, lower tummy gently draws to tailbone, curling up one vertebrae at a time. Open your arms and lift them as you breathe in, touching the palms. As you draw your hands to the midline, the knees are softening, the chin tucks in, and you're reversing the movement down, vertebra at a time as you roll to your forward fold. You stay in the forward bend or Uttanasana while you inhale, and use your lower abs again as you breathe out, curling up one vertebra at a time, nice and slowly. Rather take an extra breath. On the inhale, lifting the arms out and up. Draw the energy through the center with soft knees, tuck the chin in, and start rolling back down. Repeat that for one more round.
So wait for the next exhalation. Use your internal support to curl up to stand. Breathe in to lift out and up and touch. Soften the knees as you draw your hands down, tuck the chin in and roll back all the way to your forward fold. Now let your hands slide up to your shins. Press into them and lengthen the spine forward in a half lift. Then breathe out and fold again. We'll roll up once more through the vertebrae of the spine. And when you take your inhale, reach your arms out and up again. As you bring the hands to the heart this time, bend knees and hips and come into a chair pose. Now, while we rest in this chair pose, let your lower abs again draw towards your tail, just to use Mula Bandha, our root block and support. Keep your spine long, but maybe raise your heels away from the ground. Now with your heels up, we're balancing. Then let the heels lower, maintaining your shape. And as you breathe in, lift the right leg up. Reach your arms up as you next inhale. And then step to the open side of the mat and bring the hands back in as you bend both knees. There's no hold here. We'll move and sway. Coming all the way down towards the floor with movement. Upper body, arms and legs. Once you've reached down there, let the hands relax down. Turn your left toes to the short edge of the mat on the other side. Your heel outwards to the other end. Placing. It's utterly wrong. It is the right foot that is turning out and the left foot. So we're turning to the other side of the mat. It's the right forearm we place on top of the thigh. And then take a breath in and lift your left arm. So we're facing in the other direction. One leg is extended, the other knee is bent. Your forearm is resting down. And here comes a movement. As you inhale, bend your back knee. Swing your arm down in front. And as you breathe out, extend your arm again and your leg. And you might repeat that a couple more times. Breathing in to bend and swing. And the breath out to span and stretch yourself open. Inhale, bend and swing. Exhale, extend and pause. Let your arms swing back down. Bring your hands down either side of your right foot. Raise the left heel and step the foot to the other short edge of the mat. No matter whether you see me or you don't. Take a breath in for a half lift there and breathe out to fold. Wait for an exhalation and use that to round up into stand. On your inhale, lift your arms out and up. Hands go back to heart and Uttanasana or chair pose. As you sink back in, you're using your core support. The spine is long. And an option to raise the heels away from the ground, finding balance or not. And if not, having some fun with it. Then let your heels come back to the mat. Lifting the left knee up. A breath in to lift the arms up. And step back to that open space, hands to the heart, beginning to sway, move. Let your body flow side to side, all the way down towards the mat. Then release the movement. Now it's the left toes that are turning to the opposite side of the mat. the heel in the other direction of the opposite foot. Sliding your left forearm onto your left thigh. Then breathe in and lift your right arm as you open up to side angle pose. You've got the back leg extended out long. The front knee that you're leaning towards is bent. Choice of movement is the same. While inhaling, bend the back knee. Swing your arm back and down. Then extend the leg and stretch it back up. 2 more. Inhaling as you bend and swing. Exhaling. Stretch into the open space. 1 more round. Then let your arms swing back down. Raise the back heel. Step to the short edge of the mat. And inhale for a half lift. A breath out to fold. Rolling up again on an out breath. While you lift your arms, inhale. Bring the hands down through the midline to the heart before releasing the arms into mountain pose. You may close your eyes or find a steady gaze point somewhere ahead of you, keeping your feet deeply grounded. Take a few breaths. There's nothing here to do but redirect the breath from the belly to your ribs and up to your collarbones. We're gathering our energies for a second flow. Now, as you take a breath in, lift the arms and the gaze again. As you breathe out, come back to chair pose. Your hands will rest at heart space. Settle yourself in, use your internal support. As you shift your weight slightly to the left foot, bring the right knee back up. You can use any measures to hold on or lower both feet down. Maybe your ankle comes to the thigh instead. Keep an active flexion here in the foot, and you might lower a little bit more. Remember, I'm giving you options, not have-to-dos. And you may then slide the whole leg across, maybe even tap your big toe to the ground and breathe in to open your arms. And while you're exhaling, give yourself a hug around the shoulders or touch the palms of your hands together. Let your shoulders now soften and your elbows begin to lift. On the next in-breath, reach your arms up, lift the knee, bring your hands to the heart and step the foot back. While you breathe in, lifting the arms, and now pull down with fists of fire and lower your knee toward the floor. We'll repeat that for a few rounds. Inhale, you may straighten both legs. And breath out as you're pulling down. Keep that flowing. 3 more. Think of all the energies that you're inviting and drawing in as your elbows are moving along the sides. We're holding the last one. And extending the back leg. Let your torso extend in line with that leg as you lean it slightly forward. Draw the left side of the hip very gently and just a centimeter or so backwards. And then let your arms extend along the sides. Spread your fingers. Notice your breath. If you're feeling stable or adventurous, you can close your eyes. Then release your hands to the mat and step back for a down dog. Again, if you prefer, stepping onto all fours. Pause there, take a breath. Notice if you've adjusted your breathing to the pace of the movement or if these two went in alignment. And you are welcome now to lift your right leg as you breathe in. And with the out breath, drawing your knee to the chest. With the in breath, extending it back. Now you might still be on your toes in a down dog. And as you breathe out, draw your knee to the same side elbow. Then aim to land the foot to the outside edge of your hand. We'll all bring the back knee now to the mat and the right hand upon the knee. Starting to turn the body towards the knee. And as an extra option, you might roll your knee and foot open, leaning the hips a bit deeper in, but turning still towards that side. A dragon. As you land your foot back down onto the mat, place the hands, both of them, inside of that foot. Tuck the back toes under and lift the knee away from the floor. You might find some length here in your spine and the back leg. With the next out breath, step the back foot to the outside of the other hand. And then for those of you with challenges in their knees, bend the knees a little. Bring your forearms down upon your thighs and lengthen your spine. For those of you happy with the knees bending deeper, you can sit between the legs in a yogic squat. Place elbows to insides of knees and touch palms. So please acknowledge your challenges and practice accordingly. Nothing has to be, we're just making changes according to our bodies. The same as you rise from here. On the out breath, push the floor away. Lift your arms while you turn your toes forward, breathing in. And then draw the hands down the midline and release the arms back into the mountain. Take another break. Not a break in your awareness, but a break in your movements. Let the awareness return to the sensations within the body and let your breath gently deepen again in case you've lost it. So full yogic or ujjayi breathing. On the next breath in, raise the arms again. Bring the hands down to your heart and exhale for a chair pose. So we find our solid stance here, raising the left leg. If possible, your ankle to the thigh and the knee is falling out. Keep an active flexion in the foot you raised. You could sink a little bit deeper in. Or let the leg just slide across. Maybe your big toe will touch the floor. On a breath in, open your arms. And let your left arm cross under for a hug or to touch the palms. Let your shoulders soften, your elbows be gently lifted. As you breathe in, lifting again your knee, reaching the arms up and bringing the hands to the heart as you step the foot back for a lunge.
As you reach up, take an inhale and then pull down with fists of fire as you breathe out and sink in. Then keep going like this. Legs might extend fully when you inhale and then pull back down on the exhale. Go for 3 more. Again, bring awareness to the energies you're moving, not just the physical body. Try and stay tall in the torso when you're pulling down. And the next one, we will hold again. As we hold, bring extension into the back leg. Let the torso align with that in a slightly leaning forward movement. Let your arms extend by the side of the body and spread your fingers. Palms are facing down. The right side of the hip is gently guided in line with your left. You can pause here or try and close your eyes, working on your balance. Let your hands release to the mat. Step the foot back or fours or a downward facing dog. And as you breathe in, roll the spine forward. Come into a plank or a kneeling plank. On the exhale, lower down onto the front of the body. Encourage tops of the feet into the floor. And take a breath to lift the head, the chest. Your hands may lift as well, but no obligation. Just holding a cobra. Active right down to the toes. Inhale. On the exhale, let go to the mat. On the inhale, come to all fours. You can choose to stay here or tuck the toes and extend back up into downward facing dog. If your down dog isn't moving yet, or if you don't want to move it, same with your all four stance, find alignment points, such as a neutral spine that you might aim for. Allow your breath to flow. And with the next inhalation, let the left leg extend back. With the out breath, draw the knee to the chest, the nose to the knee. On the inhale, extend again. And now open your knee and draw it to the same side elbow. Hold there. And aim to land the foot on the outside of this hand. The back knee's off the floor, bring it down. And then let your left hand come upon your knee and start to twist. As you're turning towards that side, you may roll open the foot, the knee, but keep the twist in the upper body, maybe even looking over or upwards. Allow your hips to sink forward for a stretch if available. To land your foot again, place the hands down on the inside of it. We'll tuck back toes under. Right the knee off the floor. Lengthen the spine, the back leg be on your fingertips. Inhale. With the exhale, step the foot to the outside of the other hand. Same options here. Light bend in the knees. Forearms on thighs, long spine. Or coming to sit between the legs. Full yogic squat, long spine here too. So no stress to come extra low, rather bring the effort into the length of your spine. The only thing we will do from here is actually come down to sit. So if you use your hands, that's fine. Otherwise, you might just come down to sit in a weird form. Let your legs be out long. I'm not a big fan of sitting on a block when the legs are extended. I think that's a bit too high, but if that's more comfortable for you, please go along with that. Otherwise, rolling up the back end of your mat or sitting on a blanket. I'm already shuffling to find the sit bones on the floor. And with your legs wide, please flex your feet. Bring your hands or fingertips down in the center. Take a deep breath as you just sit here. With your next exhalation, you may keep your eyes closed. Walking in tiny steps, your hands forward and swaying from side to side. You can keep swaying if that is nurturing for you. But if you prefer, you can also at some stage come to a hold. Just pausing there and breathing. You could change the pattern of your breaths by extending the exhalations and keeping the inhalation the same. Couple more breaths. Once you've completed, start walking the hands back. Maybe there's a swaying again as you return into a seat. Let your legs come out in front. Take a hold of your right knee and the right foot and get those into some movement. Wild extensions and movements are welcome. Doesn't have to be just in the one spot, can extend itself to other places. And you could basically choose to rest the foot to the inside of the leg or into the groin if you choose to do so. Flex again the foot on the extended leg. Take a breath to reach your arms out and then turn towards the side. You can place your hand upon the knee, outside of the knee. You might wrap the other arm behind your back, and some of you might be even able to catch the big toe. No need to force, just exploring. Spending a few breaths in the twist. Inhale, let your head turn forward. Exhale as you let go of the whole shape. Wiggle your toes or legs. And we'll change sides as we take a hold of left foot and left leg and starting to move again. Quite a free range of movement depending on the state of your hips, knees, back. And choosing anew whether to place the foot to the inside of the leg or take it up into the groin. Flexion into the foot on your extended leg and the breath to open the arms. And as you exhale, turn into the twist. And again, you may wrap your arm behind. Maybe there's a grip on the big toe or you're just resting hands behind and over. Stay with the twist. Nourish the breath, the connection of the mind to breath and body. And slowly turning to the front as you unravel the posture. Now, as we come down to the mat, I suggest to only gather things rather than put socks on, place them by the side. But what you could put on is a jumper. So if you would like to do that, because it's a cooler day where we practice,
you might, but if you're in a different part of the country or the planet, that might not be necessary. So let's roll ourselves down onto the back to continue. And as I promised, there will be a longer relaxation today. So also making sure that you've got everything that brings you comfort by your side. As you come onto your back, step your feet down onto the mat. Keep them a roughly hip distance. The toes are pointing straight forward, and let your arms be long by the sides with the palms touching down. On an in-breath, tilt your pelvis so the spine presses against the mat. On the out-breath, squeeze your buttocks and lift your hips up. And now we're holding the hips up. The tailbone is drawing over towards the backs of the knees. Now, everything from here on is absolutely optional. You could raise the right leg. Place your ankle to the thigh, flex the foot, and let your knee roll open. But squeezing your hips still upwards. On an out breath, roll the spine down carefully. And then release your foot back to the mat. At least one breath, if not two, in between. Then flatten your spine again with a pelvic tilt on the in-breath. Squeeze the hips up on the out-breath. Draw tailbone to the backs of your knees. And again, only optional, raising the left leg. Bringing the ankle to the thigh, a flexion to the foot, and the knee falling out, but squeezing your hips still upwards. And then rolling the spine down, vertebra at a time, before releasing the foot back to the mat. Let your arms fall open and your knees rock from side to side. And if your head and neck feel okay, you can roll the head from side to side as well. Opposite or same side where the knees are moving to. And then eventually come to center. Now, if you feel your knees need another hug, please do that. But otherwise, prepare yourselves now for a relaxation or shavasana. So you may put socks back on, cover yourself, use a bolster under the knees, a cushion under the head, or whatever else you might require for the practice. To keep yourself comfortable and warm. As you allow the body to come into a restful state, the legs out long or supported. Close your eyes or find a steady gaze point. And notice that the breath is still there. Your point of awareness that connects you as the breath is still fairly deep into the mat that you're lying on. The breath expanding into your closing, as well as into the space in which you are. Let your breath become softer, more relaxed, no longer the point of awareness, but there's a certainty that it is still there.
Now bring your attention to the root of your being, the base of the spine. A tiny ball of red energy spins there. See this energy center as a red pin of light and allow it to spin and glow. Move up a few inches, just below the navel, your creative center. An orange light spins there. Watch it glow and nourish your creative center. Moving above the belly button, a tiny yellow light glows and spins. Allow this light to infuse your abdomen with its healing energy. In the center of your chest, a tiny green light glows and spins. This light nourishes your chest area, infusing it with love. A small turquoise light glows and spins at your throat. This light heals your voice, throat, and mouth. Move to the space between your eyebrows. An indigo light illuminates your forehead, connecting you to your inner wisdom. Continue to breathe in and out, and watch as all the lights of the first chakras grow, joining colors to form a bright white light surrounding your body. Healing and infusing you with balance, creative energy, motivation, love, the courage to speak your truth and see your truth. This energy of this light moves to the top of your head, a few inches above your head. It changes to deep purple in color. And as it lights up, it begins to spin, activating your divinity, your connection to the universe and to all things. This connection to the divine begins to grow. You feel love and oneness within yourself and with all the world. Allow this beautiful purple light to grow to surround your head, your chest, your abdomen, legs, and whole body. And then into the space around you, infusing it with vibrant purple energy. Keep this purple energy and light with you. Bring awareness to the breath. Here, moving down to your abdomen. And in your mind, repeat 3 times the universal sound of Om. The end of the Oms. Return your breathing to normal. This beautiful purple light still surrounds you. The areas above and around your head are surrounded by this beautiful light. Each breath you take is wisdom, connection, oneness, love. You may silently repeat the following affirmations if they resonate with you. I am connected to infinite wisdom. I have a deep wisdom that I can tap into at any time. I am one with all things. I am a divine soul. I am balanced. I am grateful and in awe of life. I am inspired. I feel spirit moving within me. I feel an overall contentment with life. I am present. I am love. I am peace. Spend a moment in silence as you continue to keep this healing light energized. And as you breathe, ribbons of purple weaves in and around your head, in the space around you, infusing everything with connection and wisdom. Then return your awareness to the flow of the breath. As you deepen this flow of breath gently, notice the connection back into the ground, your safe space on the mat, to your clothing and the space that's around you. While you keep deepening your breathing, you may bring in some movement again. Maybe it's fingers and toes that begin to wiggle. You could also stretch a bit. And coming to join me in your own way, in a seated position. We might once more place our fingertips down to the ground by our sides. Gathering the energy around you as you breathe in. And draw your hands down to touch the heart space as you're breathing out. We'll finish this practice with one sound of Om, inhaling for it. There, we'll gently bow, acknowledging each other. Namaste.